again. So we just read a story called Fish is Fish, and we determined that Fish is a fictional story because it's made up. It has characters in it that do things like humans. They're animals that act like humans. And if an animal acts like a human, that's a made up story, right? Okay, so now we are still talking about fish. And I have this text, this book that's called What's It Like to Be a Fish? Okay. And if you notice, there are no photographs in here. They are drawings. So we're wondering, I wonder, is this story going to be a fictional, made-up story, or is it going to be an informational text? Is it going to be nonfiction and tell us some facts about fish? What do you think? Let's think of the title again. What's it like to be a fish? I don't know. Does that give anything away? Let's see. This is written by Wendy Pfeffer and illustrated by Holly Keller. Let's find out. Oh, I see something written on the side. It says, here, it says what kind of book it is. It said, let's read and find out science book. Does that give you any clues? All right, let's go through it. There's a lot of information in here, so I'm going to skip around because I want to give you some information about fish, but I don't want to take a long time to read it, okay? So here's a bunch of different fish, different kinds of fish that you can see, right? Ooh, is that a tuna? I like tuna. It's a salmon, actually. Yummy. So fish live in water. We knew that, right? They live in lakes and ponds. Where else do they live? They live in aquariums. Does anybody have an aquarium with fish as pets? Well, we know that I have my new pet, little cutie, right? Actually, it's little cutie Ginger. We voted on 2 names, right? So you might have a fish tank that you have to take care of your fish. And sometimes you get a fish in a plastic bag. You ever go to the fair and play a game and win a fish? So there you are. You can put a goldfish in a fish bowl, right? Like my fishies in a little fish tank. Your pet goldfish can live in a bowl, okay? But you have to really take care of that fish, okay? Where else do fish live? What habitat do you think this is? Fish also live in the ocean, okay? And their bodies are made to live underwater, right? Like your body is made to live on the land. Do you know how to swim? Can you swim in the water? Sure, but fish, that's all they do is swim, okay? They're really great swimmers. They have a tail, which helps push them through the water, and they have fins that help them move around and swim. So that's how their bodies are made. What do you have that help you walk around? Okay. Now, if you look at the fish's body, you notice, does a fish have skin? Well, what do we call these little pieces here that looks like armor on a knight, right? Those are called, do you know? Fish scales. Do you wonder why fish have scales? I do. They help a fish to swim. I didn't even know that. Okay. They are hard and they're clear and they overlap like shingles on a roof and they're slick and there's slime all over the fish. Why do you think fish have to be slimy? It helps them glide through the water. The slime helps them move through the water. And if the scales protect them from getting cuts and scrapes, right? Okay. So when a fish swims, they swing their tails and their fins back and forth, right? And they look like they're flying. Now, that's how we breathe. If you were in Miss Tina's class, you learned about your lungs. We take oxygen, we take air in our lungs and breathe it back out, and our lungs take care of us. But can fish breathe air? How can they breathe air? They're underwater. So what do? They have some slits on the side of their body, and those slits are called, you know what they're called? Gills, okay? Fish need oxygen too. There's oxygen in water just as there's oxygen in air. A goldfish opens its mouth and it lets some water in. And then when the fish closes its mouth, the water flows over the gills inside the body, and the fish's body takes in the oxygen it needs. And after passing over the gills, the water leaves the fish's body back through the gill openings, okay? For a fish, opening and closing their mouth is breathing, but it's still going through their gills, not their lungs, okay? I wonder, what are they doing? Now, I know my fishy, little cutie Ginger, eats fish pellets that I feed him, right? But what do fish eat? I guess if you have a fish in a bowl, you can feed it. But what do you think fish in the ocean eat? Uh-oh. What's happening there? The bigger fish is eating the middle fish, and the middle fish is eating the baby fish. Wow. Fish in the wild don't have someone to feed them every day. Many fish eat tiny plants and animals so small that you need a microscope to see them. That's called plankton. Bigger fish feed on worms and crabs, shrimps, and other fish. Usually big fish eat medium-sized fish, and medium-sized fish eat small fish. This is part of what we call the food chain. Do you eat fish? Do you go fishing and eat fish? So we talked about this with some of the animals we learned about already, some of the amphibians like frogs. Fish are cold-blooded, and that means their body temperature matches the temperature of the water around them. So you have to make sure if you have a goldfish in a bowl, the temperature has to stay like kind of medium, right? Fish need to stay healthy in like probably 65 degrees, kind of like how it is in the spring. Now you're warm-blooded. Humans are warm-blooded, so that means that your body temperature always stays the same. And that's why when you're not feeling good and mommy and daddy take your temperature, if your temperature is higher, it means your body is fighting off a cold or an infection, right? So if you have a fish in a bowl, you will see your goldfish slip around. How do you see fish that live in the ocean? Well, there's a couple of ways. One way, like I do, when you get older, if you want to do this, you become a scuba diver, right? You can go way down in the ocean because you have a pack on your back, and it's a big tank that has air in it that you breathe so that you could breathe underwater. You could almost be like a fish. But you could also snorkel, where you have a tube that sticks out of the water and you put your face with a mask in the water and you can see the fish. Or you can go somewhere to see fish in their natural habitat. Where can you go? Have you been there? The aquarium. You can go to the aquarium and you will see all kinds of fish in tanks. And I think this summer that Riverhead Aquarium out east in eastern Long Island will be opening up, so maybe you'll get a chance to go and see fish and sharks and whales and all kinds of creatures, octopus and everything in the natural habitats, okay? So an aquarium is like a museum. It's a place where you could actually see things that you wouldn't normally see in your daily life, okay? So enjoy thinking about fish, and what I want you to do is let's go quickly over this. Make your chart. I made it fun this time. I drew a fish, okay? So I said fish have gills, have fins, have a tail. What else do they have? That's pretty much how they work. They're pretty simple, right? Then I said they are cold-blooded, right? They are good swimmers. They can breathe underwater. They can eat plants or other fish. They can live in fresh water or salt water or in a tank or an aquarium, okay? Fish are slimy. Fish have scales. And this is one thing that didn't mention in there, but fish have no eyelids. Close your eyes. Can you see? No. Your eyelids cover your eyes when you go to sleep so that you can go to sleep. So fish do sleep, but they don't have any eyelids. They don't need them for some reason. And the water, their eyes have to stay wet all the time. So they have to be in the water with their eyes wide open, like a fish. That's why you go, can you make a fish face? Okay. Enjoy learning about fish, and I'll see you later at our Zoom meeting. We're going to have an A to Z scavenger hunt.